everybody. Good morning. Welcome back to Snafu Performance, where we're finishing up some of the metal work on the back end of this 89 C1500 Pro Street setup. So it's a 4-link, as we've gone through before in some of our videos. We finished putting the whole housing together with the 4-link brackets. I welded up our 4-link bars. They're 24 inches center to center after our adjustment was factored in. Now we're going to actually get into the fun part. Well, I think it's more of a fun part, where we're going to tie the rear back half into the existing frame. This frame was built for a 68 to 74 Nova, so we're kind of, we're working with what we got. But I'm going to make up some, I just got some regular construction paper or art craft paper here, and all I did was I just made some, everything is centered up left to right. We've got all our, everything is spaced correctly. We're using a laser for that. You wouldn't want to measure from like the outside of your 4-link brackets here to the existing frame rail. Our frame rails they're a little bit wonky here. They're a little bit off. So what we did is we used a laser to run straight down the center of the frame, and we got some constant points on this frame. And now we're just squaring everything up to that from the front to the rear. So everything is 100% dead in line. We're right in line with our pinion angle. Everything really fell right in place without having to manipulate that pinion center with the wishbone or anything like that. You don't really want to have to force that to the left or right. That wouldn't make any sense. So everything, the way we did it, fell right into place like we wanted. So anyhow, I made up these patterns here. This is what's going to be, we're going to use 1/8 inch steel plate, cut it out of the 1/8 inch plate. We'll start welding some on the front, and then once we have all that set and we're happy and everything is in place and tacked in, we'll cut the back of the frame rail off flush. We'll weld a flat one across the whole back and kind of box this whole thing in, and then we'll cut off our 4-link bars down here, or 4-link, the cross member on the 4-link. We'll cut this cross member off, and then we're going to make a plate on the exterior of the frame that's going to kind of fish plate, close in, box everything in this back corner here. It's going to be a little more bulky than I would ever really have planned and wanted, but I don't really know a better way to tie this in that's going to be structurally strong. It's not, maybe it's not as neat as I would have liked, but I think it's going to turn out good. It's going to be extremely strong, and it's definitely going to work. And then we're going to throw in some like 1 5/8 bar from here down to the side of the inner frame that we boxed. We'll throw that in here just to triangulate things and keep everything from shimmy and shift, and just strengthen this whole thing up. I think that what we're doing is really, strong. We're going to still have our bars coming down from the main hoop out the back window to the top of the back half, so that's going to give us our rigidity this way. We are going to be towing a trailer with this thing because it is a drag and drive vehicle, and we're not going to have a whole lot of room left in the bed, being that it's back halved and we have a 33-inch tall tire. So the wheel tubs are going to take up a ton of space. We're going to have batteries, the fuel cell, this and that. So we'll have some space back there, but not a whole tremendous amount of room like a normal pickup bed. So we're also going to have to do some cutting back here to do a little bit of a flip and playing around, because again, this is 68 to 72 or 74 Nova back half. It's we got to drop this down so that the bed hits it right, because I don't want to cut into the bed to accommodate the frame. I'd rather cut this frame to accommodate the bed. So when you look at this thing and we open the tailgate, it looks relatively stock. Obviously it's not. We're gonna have some tin work in there, but that's where we're going with this episode. Follow along here. Let's see how it turns out. So here is the first of our 1/8 inch plate that's going to get put in here in the front of our whole assembly. This is going to get put right in here, something like this. And I'm leaving room on the bottom so I can weld. I don't want to go right to the lower edge. I've got it up about 1/4 inch or 3/8 of an inch from the bottom, so we have a nice place to weld. We don't want to grind that weld off and weaken things. Then we'll be able to weld inside here. Kind of everything I've done, I've spaced so that I don't have to grind any of my welds to make it look good. Everything will be left in here. Everything will be left in here. The less you grind your welds, the stronger they are. So that's our goal here. We might have to grind a little bit across the top to clean everything up once we box this in. But that's the goal, is to not have to grind our welds to make it look pretty or make it look finished. Leave everything there. Thick welds or strong welds. If you grind them down, they lose their strength. So that's where we're at. Let's get welding. So here we go. The time has come to actually join the 2x3 back half to the existing truck frame. These are the front plates that I made up. These are going to get MIG welded in. All this stuff I'm going to MIG weld. There's too many gaps and inconsistencies with the frame and all that, to, for me to be able to TIG weld this properly. So I'm going to MIG weld it. It's going to look perfectly fine. It's going to be super strong. So what we're doing is we're just tacking everything in right now, because we don't know. We're not 100% sure that we're going to be happy with the ride height. So we're going to tack this in. We're going to make our front plates, our back plates, our side plates. We're going to get everything welded in so that it can be completely welded out. And then we're going to set the bed on. We're going to cut the bed out. We're going to put the tires in place. We're going to put the cab on and get a good look at this thing, how it's going to sit. So those are some pretty heavy tacks. Everything I did on the inside, I know I did a few down beads, but like I said, this is really just to get it all tied together. We're gonna let it cool, recheck all the measurements. If everything looks good, we're gonna do some welding on the outside here, and then we're gonna make a brace to tie this together. Once everything is tied in and triangulated off of this upper corner to the inside of the frame, then I feel real comfortable about being able to make the rest of the braces, cutting things off, and I don't feel like anything's going to be going anywhere. So that's it. Give us about a half hour, let everything cool off. We'll come back, take some measurements, make sure everything's right. Hopefully everything's right, because I really don't have to cut all that crap off I just put on there. Much freaking easier, right? Mm-hmm. Oh man, that's about perfect right there. We can grind the face of this a little bit to make it really perfect. All right, so we had a little bit of a change in plans. My initial gussets that I made to go from the factory frame back to the 4-link frame were they were short. They were in here, and I was going to try and be creative and fancy and notch this corner out and have them wrap around and all that. Well, about 20 minutes into that, I decided to pitch those things in the garbage, because it was a pain. So I came up with these longer ones with smaller tube. This is 1.5 inch diameter, 120 wall mild steel. And I cut them. They actually, once I have the angle on them, they fit the 2-inch wall better. So they'll be able to be welded all the way around. And they meet up here with the frame just great. So it's got a much more straight run. It's going to shoot this into the side of this frame. And then this way, it also puts the strain right on the cab mount. So basically, my thought is, the cab mount's going to be tied in tight. This isn't going to bow right here. And then what we'll probably do is run a cross member right from here to the other side, right up and over with a hump in it, which is really going to tie all this in. And then hopefully the plan with that is we'll be able to tie our D-bars down into the top of that cross member. Should work perfect in a perfect world, right? So we'll see. We're going to get welding. remember, we're just tacking these in for now, in case once we set this thing down on the ground, we're not happy with the rod height, we have to move everything. I don't want to be cutting pieces apart for the next week. Alright, so here we are. We've got all the stubs cut off the end of the frame rail. We got the stub cut off the end of the back half. I used my favorite, my craft paper, my cardboard. I feel like, you know, I'm back in elementary school having fun. We made up this template that is really just going to box this back half in. So this just fits down in here like this, right against the side. It'll all get welded down in here, get welded across the bottom, and then we're going to put a cap on the end. So I just want to show you pretty much a good indication that you're doing things the right way and that everything is lined up and squared up and working out is when you can take the template you made from that side, bring it over here to the other side, and it fits this side like a glove too. So that's what you really want. You know, you want your left and your rights to be equal. If you start seeing things all different shapes and sizes, it's a good indication something's not right and you should double check yourself. But before I go welding any more on this, we will pull the tape again, triangulate the whole frame from front to back, make sure everything's right. I like to keep checking that because as you weld, things can pull and warp. We want to find out now before we have 400 yards of welding wire wrapped up in this thing. Well, I can guarantee that's not going anywhere, and we're not even done welding yet. We're going to fill all this, and then we'll make our faceplate. We're going to fill this here, and then we'll grind it flush, and then we'll make our faceplate, and then it'll all get welded around the perimeter of that too. So here we are, back at it, doing a little bit more work to this back half, attaching everything to the frame. This seems like a terrible freaking picture. I mean, holy crap, is that lining or what? There we go, that's much better, I think. So anyway, here we are. We're doing a little bit more of the closing in or capping of this back half setup. I've got the majority of this frame all tacked in place. Again, I'm just tacking it for now, and we're going to set the bed on, we'll set the cab on. Everything's super solid right now, but I don't want to go welding everything completely up until we know for sure that everything's where we want it. So I'll show you where we're at right now. Take a look at this. I'll just turn this around. So I put a back cap on here, I'll call it. It's just really making my own nice big piece of, it's like, you know, becomes like a 2 by 8 or whatever the heck this ends up being, 2 by 10, right? It's the same thing. It's 2 inches wide. It's just like the rest of my frame rails. So it's just an extension of the 2 by 3 back half bars to tie it into the factory frame rail. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to make a plate that just runs down here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it down, and then we're going to triangulate it down to this bottom corner. And I feel like this triangulation down here is going to act like a gusset. So rather than just welding a gusset in underneath here and leaving it almost looking ugly, I'll just cap the whole thing. We're going to weld it along this top edge so you don't have to grind the weld. We'll bring it right down in this area here. I'm going to try to mark these holes because I don't want to necessarily leave these holes in behind, because if water gets in here, I don't want it to creep in behind this plate and start rusting things out. Now I will drill holes in all these different locations wherever I have a cavity, and I'll spray some kind of cavity wax in there because I know it's thick material, but it's already got some rust starting in it, as you can see right there. There's places I can't get the welder into. It kind of welds like crap down inside there. So we'll get cavity wax in all these holes, all these openings. Once everything's painted and done, we'll put some body plugs in it just to protect everything. But that's where we're at. Gonna get my arts and crafts going again and make up some, some templates out of that construction paper I love to use. We'll get that rolling, and then show you what I do. We'll start welding things up, tacking them on, and getting this thing together. Other than the final welding is just about a wrap. And the next step, of course, is going to be cutting the back up and getting this bed sitting on.